in the darkest corners of human history, where the sounds of conflict tried to drown out all hope, a single voice can sometimes rise above the chaos, reminding us of the unyielding strength of the human spirit. Today, on WarPsyche, we journey back to the brutal front lines of World War II. Not to recount tales of grand strategies or decisive battles, but to share the intimate story of one man whose weapon of choice was not a rifle, but a song. This is the story of Sergeant Ivan, the soldier who sang to keep his comrades alive. Imagine the scene: a landscape scarred by conflict, the air thick with the smell of gunpowder and the chill of fear. Young men, far from home, huddled in muddy trenches, each explosion a jarring reminder of their own mortality. Panic is a contagious disease. In such an environment, an invisible enemy that can cripple a unit faster than any bullet. It was in these moments of suffocating dread that Sergeant Ivan's voice would emerge, a quiet melody cutting through the tension. Ivan wasn't the strongest soldier, nor the most decorated. He was an ordinary man, a former farmhand who loved the folk songs of his village, but he possessed an extraordinary understanding of the human heart. He knew that fear thrived in silence. So he began to sing. At first, it was a quiet hum, a song his mother used to sing. Slowly, tentatively, a few other soldiers would join in, their trembling voices finding a strange anchor in the shared melody. His songs weren't anthems of glory or calls to battle. They were simple tunes about rolling hills, first loves, and warm summer evenings, fragments of a life they had all left behind, a life they desperately hoped to return to. For the men in his unit, Ivan's singing became a ritual. Before a major push, when the anxiety was at its peak, he would gather them. His voice, steady and clear, acted as a shield against the psychological onslaught of war. One veteran later recalled, "You could feel the fear in your throat, so thick you could barely breathe." Then Ivan would start singing. It wasn't magic. The danger was still there. But for those few minutes, we weren't just soldiers waiting for the inevitable. We were men. We remembered our homes, our families. He gave us back a piece of ourselves that the war was trying to steal. This wasn't just about distraction. It was a profound act of psychological reinforcement. Music has a unique power to regulate our emotions, lower stress hormones like cortisol, and foster a sense of connection. Ivan, perhaps unknowingly, was practicing a form of battlefield therapy. His commander, initially skeptical, soon recognized the tangible impact on his men's morale. Units that fought alongside Ivan's platoon reported a noticeable difference. His men were calmer under fire, more cohesive, and less prone to combat fatigue. The act of singing together synchronized their breathing and heart rates, creating a powerful, unspoken bond. They weren't just fighting alongside each other. They were breathing and feeling as one. It was a testament to the idea that true strength in battle isn't just about physical prowess, but about mental and emotional resilience. There's a particularly powerful account from the brutal winter campaign of 1943, pinned down for days in a frozen forest. With supplies dwindling and morale at an all-time low, despair had set in. The cold was as much an enemy as the one they were facing. Men were starting to give up. It was then that Ivan, his own body racked with shivers, began to sing a bright, cheerful song about a midsummer festival. The absurdity of its singing of sunshine in a frozen hell was so stark that a few soldiers started to chuckle. The chuckle turned into weak laughter. That small spark of warmth, of shared humanity, was enough to break the spell of hopelessness. It gave them the mental fortitude to hold on for one more day, the day reinforcements finally arrived. Sergeant Ivan's story is a profound reminder that courage comes in many forms. It's not always about charging headfirst into danger. Sometimes, the bravest act is to sing in the face of despair, to offer a piece of your own light to those lost in the dark. He showed his comrades that even when their bodies were trapped on the battlefield, their spirits could still soar. They could still access the parts of themselves that were untouched by war, the parts that loved, that remembered, and that hoped. This powerful connection between music, memory, and survival is a core element of human psychology. Music taps into the deepest parts of our brain, connecting with our emotional and memory centers. For those soldiers, Ivan's songs were not just sounds. They were lifelines to their past and bridges to a potential future. It was a way to maintain their identity in a situation designed to strip it all away. Sergeant Ivan survived the war. He returned to his village, not as a celebrated hero of grand battles, but as the man who sang. The men who served with him never forgot what he did. They didn't just remember the battles they fought. They remembered the songs they sang. They remembered how a simple melody could be a more effective shield than a wall of sandbags, protecting not their bodies, but their very souls. The story of Sergeant Ivan teaches us a vital lesson that transcends the battlefield. It shows us that in our own moments of darkness, fear, and isolation, the tools for survival are often simpler than we think. It's the shared story, the comforting song, the act of reaching out and reminding each other of our shared humanity. The human spirit, when nurtured, can find the strength to endure the unimaginable. War is a symphony of destruction, but, as Sergeant Ivan proved, a single, determined voice of hope can, and will, always find a way to be heard. Thank you for joining us on WarPsyche for this incredible story of resilience. If you found this story as moving as we did, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the psychology of war and the enduring power of the human spirit. Let us know in the comments what you think about the power of music in extreme situations. Until next time, stay curious and stay compassionate.